Hello everyone. Thank you all for being here today. It is a privilege to share our research findings with you. Exploring the trends of self-education among the public in addressing public health issues through the vast information available on the internet. Furthermore, we will delve into the impact of this trend on scientific literacy. In a rapidly advancing society, the accessibility of information has empowered individuals to self-educate, particularly in matters of public health. Today, I am excited to present our research that sheds light on how laypeople are actively engaging with online resources, seeking advice from experts, and participating in information exchange to enhance their understanding of critical health issues. A growing trend where individuals are proactively seeking information on platforms like magazines, websites, and through interactions with journalists. This reflects a concerted effort by the public to bridge the gap in expert-layperson communication. In this context, cultivating scientific literacy emerges as a crucial skill, enabling individuals to critically assess and comprehend scientific information. The vertical structure of medical discourse in language for specific purposes, LSP, primarily distinguishes between internal communication and external discourse. External discourse, which is patient-oriented, involves doctor-patient interactions and communication with a broader audience. The objective of discourse popularization is to ensure that scientific information becomes accessible to a wider audience. Therefore, it is imperative to adjust the language used based on the level of popularization required. Research on discourse markers, DM, emerged in the mid-20th century. DM have the function of organizing the textual structure, signaling either a return to what has been said in order to clarify or summarize it, or a planning strategy. Based on previous studies, we propose an analysis of paraphrastic markers of reformulation, marking of an equivalence relation. When the speaker rephrases a fragment of his or her speech, he or she introduces a clarification that makes what was said earlier more precise. The most common markers for signaling this type of reformulation include expressions that are summarized in the table. In the context of the Chinese language, we encounter expressions such as g, which seamlessly translates to nomadamente in Portuguese and namely in English. Furthermore, phrases like Huanqi, or por outras palavras, in Portuguese and, in other words, in English, serve as linguistic bridges, allowing us to navigate the vast landscape of expression. As we explore huanju hua shuo, and yiju shi shuo, in Chinese, we find the Portuguese counterparts, ou seja, and isto é. Lastly, the phrase ju, yi wei ju, yi wei ju, resonating with chuadiza in Portuguese and meaning, that is to say, in English. We analyzed the function of the reformulation markers of the red word, and after presenting the experimental part, I will talk about the function of the analyzed reformulation markers. Join me on this linguistic exploration, where we unravel the beauty of reformulation markers and their impact on the rich tapestry of communication. For the present study, we compiled 2 corpora, each consisting of 30 popular science texts in both Portuguese and Chinese, specifically in the field of health sciences with a focus on well-being and diet. Both corpora will be analyzed using the Sketch Engine tool. The investigation of the selected articles in both languages will involve Firstly, identifying paraphrastic reformulation markers. Secondly, determining the overall frequency of reformulation markers. And thirdly, analyzing the function of these reformulation markers based on context. We compiled 2 comparable corpora, with a focus on ensuring comparability based on criteria such as chosen topics and text length. This preliminary analysis aims to compare Chinese and Portuguese texts, identifying similarities and differences in the use of reformulation markers. We have integrated both qualitative and quantitative analyses to provide a more comprehensive approach to data examination. To identify the texts in the analysis, numbers are used to present and distinguish the text. For example, Portuguese texts are labeled as PT1, PT2, PT3, and Chinese texts are labeled as CH1, CH2, CH3, and so forth. Upon analyzing the frequencies of reformulation markers using the concordance function of the sketch engine tool, the following data were obtained, according to the Table 2. The analyzed corpora did not contain reformulation markers Jur, Ju, Yiwei Jur, Jur, Ju, Yiwei Jur, Chua Diza. In the Portuguese corpus, no instances of neutros termus, ditto de outro modo. Por outras palavras were found. The reformulation marker ou seja revealed 44 occurrences, significantly surpassing the occurrences of isto é, which totaled only 1. In the Chinese corpus, the reformulation markers, isto é, and ou seja, appeared almost equally, with 17 and 16 occurrences, respectively. There were no instances of Huanju Huajian, Huanju Huajian, or Zheju Shi Shuo, Zheju Shi Shuo, in the Chinese corpus. Before analysis, I read the English translation of the text. Cholesterol is part of the cell membrane. If there is a lack of cholesterol when you renew your cells, they may have a rigid membrane and cellular exchange will be compromised. Recent research indicates that cholesterol can act as an antioxidant. In other words, it protects cells against the harmful effects of free radicals. Opening parenthesis closing parenthesis. The more adipocytes you fill, the more they will increase in volume and weight, ou seja, in other words, you will put on weight. That is to say what happens when you exercise and your muscles need energy. That's why intense exercise makes you lose weight. During exercise, a process called glycogenolysis takes place. In other words, glucose is transformed into glycogen to be used as fuel. If glycogen starts to drop, the body starts another process, neoglycogenesis. In other words, it goes into the reserves to get these triglycerides and uses the fat molecules as energy and the glycerol as glucose. So there's energy again and you get slimmer. The expressions isto é and ou seja share a similar meaning, translating into English as that is or in other words. However, they are employed in slightly distinct contexts in the Portuguese language. Considering the length of the paper, we selectively analyze text fragments in both languages, with reformulation markers in text highlighted in bold. And given the size of the PPT page, I've only shown the English translation of the Portuguese text and Chinese's text. The first ou seja is used as a rephrasing and explanation of the preceding text to emphasize the antioxidant role of cholesterol. It further clarifies the role of cholesterol and makes it easier for the reader to understand its role in cell protection. Additionally, ou seja introduces new insights from recent research about the antioxidant properties of cholesterol, ensuring a more comprehensive understanding for the reader. The second ou seja is used as a rephrasing of the previous text to emphasize the relationship between fat cell filling and weight gain. It provides a more detailed and visual explanation to ensure that the reader has a clearer understanding of the mechanisms of weight gain. The third ou seja is used to explain the glycogenese process mentioned earlier, in order to summarize and emphasize the nature of the process. It ensures that the reader understands the mechanism by which glucose is converted into liver glycogen during exercise. The fourth ou seja is used to explain the process of neoglycogenase mentioned earlier to provide a more detailed description. It emphasizes how the body uses fat reserves to produce energy when glycogen is low, and promotes a fuller understanding of the physiological process of weight loss. Histo-A clarifies the previous statement, detailing the process of filling adipocytes and its relationship with weight gain. Next, I will analysis reformulation markers in Chinese corpus. Ch23. It can be seen that the culprit of hyperlipidemia is improper diet. And the key to preventing and controlling hyperlipidemia is also diet. In other words, improper diet will lead to hyperlipidemia. In this context, the use of Huanqi, in other words, is to summarize and emphasize the preceding text in a more concise and straightforward way, which is also a form of reformulation. The author uses Huanqi to emphasize that the main cause of hyperlipidemia is improper diet and puts the key to preventing hyperlipidemia on diet. This style of presentation helps to highlight the direct effect of diet on hyperlipidemia and conveys complex information to the reader in a clearer way. Ch6. Nowadays, a variety of fruits on the market in large quantities, people in the feast at the same time. Some of the discomfort caused by eating fruit also often happen. That is to say, fruit also has side effects, especially the following situations to pay more attention. In this context, Yi Zhu Shi Shuo is used to lead the reader to a further understanding of the phenomenon mentioned earlier, that fruits may cause some discomfort. It serves to summarize and explain in order to give the reader a clearer understanding of what the author is saying. All in all, Yi Zhu Shi Shuo serves as a link between the preceding and the following text. In conclusion, the discourse marker ou seja not only serves the function of reformulation, on the one hand, ou seja is usually employed to rephrase or express something in a different way to enhance understanding, and be used for discourse strategies that imply a reformulation of the speech. Nevertheless, it can also be used to introduce new information for clarification purposes. The discourse marker Histo-A is used to offer additional clarification or explanation of a preceding statement. This technique enhances logical coherence and overall text readability. In summary, the utilization of Histo-A, Yi Zhu Shi Shuo in these contexts aims to improve clarity, ensuring that the reader precisely grasps the author's intended message. Moreover, studying reformulation markers contributes to a better understanding of popular science texts and enhances scientific literacy. This study, albeit small, provides insight into paraphrastic reformulation markers in Portuguese and Chinese texts in the field of health sciences. For more details and results regarding the functions of ou seja and Histo-A, further analysis of additional texts may be necessary in the future. I would now like to open the floor for any questions you may have. Thank you for your attention.